Welcome to the After the Show Movie Podcast, brought to you by your hosts, Ace Scully and Sid Talk. We're addicted to movies. Are you? Welcome. Hello, Sid Talk. How are you doing?
Yellow.
I feel a bit better this week.
Very good. It's about time.
Finally.
It's getting really boring, you being sick. That's what a great wife I am.
What sympathy you have.
I'm a super villain, is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Yeah. I'll take that.
You don't care.
I don't care.
All right, what was the before the after the show discussion?
Before the after the show discussion was this movie. Ideas about this movie. Whether or not you could hear the ceiling fan in the audio. Very riveting stuff.
We've got the ceiling fan on. It's a hot day. And hopefully you as a listener don't hear it. And don't email me saying you can hear it because you probably can't. You know what I'm saying?
Also, don't. Just don't.
Just never email me. Unless I ask you to. All right, let's get on with this show. It is Saturday, June the 14th. This is After the Show, your weekly movie review podcast, and this is episode 895. We look at a new movie every week, and this movie that we look at this week is called Sinners. Do I have to
emphasize
Sinners? It's a 2025 release, out now on streaming, rated R. Its runtime is 2 hours and 17 minutes, and it's from Warner Brothers. Sid Talk, give us the synopsis of the movie Sinners, and then I'll give you the real one.
Okay, so I'm not going to involve myself with spoilers, unless you really want to dig deep and go for it. But it is a story about becoming free from the shackles of bullshit social stuff.
All right, I'll give you the one off the box.
Are we going to spoil everything?
Well, this is off the box. So
okay.
Okay. I know the poster doesn't spoil anything.
Okay.
So let's see what the box says. It says, there could be spoilers and I can't be responsible for what Warner Brothers say.
Okay, so let me say this. We knew nothing of what was going to happen in this movie.
Right.
And then it was pleasantly a surprise.
Yes.
Therefore, if you don't want to know anything, then stop listening to us. Go watch it. We're not going to wait for you, but you can hit pause, stop, whatever. Do your life, watch the movie, then come back.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Okay, because it's hard not to.
From this point onwards, you could get a spoiler.
Correct.
Here we go. Trying to leave their troubled lives behind, twin brothers return to their hometown to start again, only to discover that an even greater evil is waiting to welcome them back.
Okay, yeah. Sure. Yeah, sure.
If you don't know anything, that is also not a spoiler, because it could be anything.
True.
Yeah. Sid Talk, Sinners, the latest movie from Ryan Coogler of Black Panther Creed fame. What do you think?
I really enjoyed it. I will not claim that it's not flawed or that I understand every single reference and every single thing, because I don't. I'm not going to be that person. Like I've got it all figured out, but I enjoyed it thoroughly. And I can't explain why, because there are times when I'm like, that's a bit flimsy. That's a bit, but I didn't want it to end. That's how much I liked it.
Well, I will say, when people refer to something as pure cinema. Have you ever heard that? I would refer this as pure cinema.
I'm not sure if I would apply that, but that's your opinion.
I thought it was highly enjoyable as a movie. It had a lot to say for itself. It looked fantastic. The music was unbelievable.
Very good.
The actual score, even I don't know if you noticed in this movie, there's always a piece of score happening, even when it's just a conversation.
Kind of felt the vibe, yeah. Right.
And it all kind of applies to what's happening. Mm-hmm. I like the setting of this movie. What year was it set in?
1936. Yeah,
I like the setting. They nailed the setting, the actual pieces, like the place when they pulled up in the town and the train was there. Mm-hmm. And there's they didn't spare the extras. There was a lot of people in the scene.
No, but we don't know what's CGI or what's AI anymore.
But whatever they did, it looked right.
Absolutely.
And it looked like this, everything about the movie. When it needed to look grimy, it was grimy. And when it needed to look hot, because it looked very hot and sweaty, sometimes it did aspect ratio change. You probably noticed it in this movie because it did it a lot.
A little bit.
It changed from IMAX to very widescreen. And the bit at the beginning when they were going through on the road and all the cotton fields were on either side, it looked spectacular.
It did, yeah.
Yeah, so everything, all that cinema stuff that I'm talking about, it tickled the cinema part of me.
Okay.
And then, getting into the spoilers, this plays a lot like another movie we've seen, right?
As soon as you say this.
You can't not compare it to it.
You're right. You're right.
It's like a classy version of From Dusk Till Dawn. That's how I would put it.
I don't know about classy, but definitely...
Dusk Till Dawn's very B-movie. You know, it's kind of cheesy and
this
chintzy.
one has a lot of tongue in cheek, so let's not ignore that.
But it also doesn't set itself up that way. It set itself up as a period piece and
absolutely
interesting and, you know, almost a bit Tarantino, I found at the beginning. You know the part where he shot the two men in the legs?
Mm-hmm.
The dialogue and the actual setup there, that reminded me of like Django Unchained or something like that. So it had this, like, the way it was setting itself up, and then when it became a horror movie. I didn't expect it, but I did at the same time. It was weird, because they did allude to it at the beginning. Dusk Till Dawn, if you've not seen it, spoilers for a movie
we're going to spoil another
25-year-old movie.
For the record, I was watching a videotape of Dusk Till Dawn, had no idea what it was. I just grabbed a bunch of tapes one evening. A friend and I were watching them. And when the shit hits the fan, we looked at each other, literally paused, and we're like, what the hell is going on?
Yeah. I went to see it on my own in a cinema. I'd recently seen Reservoir Dogs or something like that, one of a Tarantino. So I was like, I need to see anything with Tarantino. And I didn't know what it was either. It was a big surprise for me.
Right.
I thought it was going to be a crime movie, which is how they pitch it. This movie, they also pitch it as it's a crime movie, right? Like the two brothers who will do anything to make money or be successful, whatever they're trying to do. Right?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, let's explain. The two brothers have come back from traveling the world in wars, which we're going to say is World War I and probably some other actions because it's 1936. So they would have been alive, you know, the 15, 20 years earlier because they seem like they're about in their late 30s-ish, you know? So they've been fighting around the world. Now, they're African-American men in the 30s. Also, that would mean at the turn of the century, they're in the army or whatever branch they're in. They've been around. They've been to Chicago. We're alluding to the fact that they were criminals or associated with criminals in some way. They're kind of gangster-esque.
Yes.
Now they've come back to their small town. They just want to build a juke joint, which is like a bar, you know, where you have music and drinks and food. And that seems like that's just what they want to do. They want to come back, connect with everybody again, settle in. Now, they're still a little bit shady. Don't get me wrong. They're not doing everything above board.
They're not
I don't
a little
reckon.
bit. They're pretty shady.
Their money probably isn't from, you know, angel situations. So that's where they just want to open this bar. And then that's kind of where they come back to this small town.
And actually, think another similarity with Dusk Till Dawn is they're brothers as well, aren't they, in Dusk Till Dawn?
Mm-hmm.
So is this just a general rip-off of Dusk Till I just see it as like this. It is very much the same kind of deal. We didn't say it yet, but the big V in the room is vampires turn up. So we've got a bar with people in there having fun, and then vampires turn up, and it turns into a bloodbath, so to speak, which is very similar to that other film we were talking about.
Mm-hmm.
But different, because this one it's pretty heavy, this one.
Absolutely.
It's not, they're joking around in Dusk Till Dawn a lot. This one, yes, there are some funny lines and stuff, but a lot of it is like near the nail, like social commentary of that day with like the Klan and all that kind of stuff. And it's heavy, I found.
It is, but it also has a lot of like chuckles of what the hell? Like, what the hell is that? What the hell are they saying? What are they doing? How are they acting? You know what I mean? There's a lot of question marks there.
It also has musical numbers, more than one, which was awesome.
Well, the beginning of the movie, we get the little explanation that there are people, humans, who walk amongst us through all the history of humanity, who can make music in a way that wakes up past generations and pulls in future generations. Like it connects to everybody past and present. And of course, then we have our blues singer, young man, and then the juke joint is going to be playing the blues music. And that is why we have musical numbers, because it's the idea that, because his dad is a preacher, right? Our young musician guy. And he's telling him, drop the guitar, period. Don't make any music ever. It's evil, right?
Yeah.
You're bringing up the devil. So that's what we're told in the very beginning, that through all cultures, there are these people who bring evil because they're making music of whatever kind, enchanting music, right?
Yeah.
And so the overriding idea is like, oh, well, I guess if you just don't make the music, then you won't bring the evil and the behavior. And, it's kind of like people saying, don't build a bar in my neighborhood because that's going to bring all the bad people, or a casino, or even a music venue, right? Don't bring that, because that's going to bring all kinds of badness. And in this movie, it's the question of, do we just keep doing that, or do we just stop? And that's what I got from it anyway.
Yeah, and explain that sequence. It's so cool.
The part, well, after she's told us that in the very beginning, this little voiceover, that certain musicians can bring the past and the present. Well, we're in the juke joint, he's singing the blues, and the people are dancing, and slowly we're interjecting their past, which were like tribal dancers and people on drums and other cultures all mixed in and they were, all of a sudden they just appear in the group and dancing with the group. Of course, we're the only ones who see them. Then you get what I assume is like a Jimi Hendrix character in like sort of a spacesuit playing an electric guitar, and then a DJ on a disc thingy, and then people
turntables.
Yes, people break dancing and modern everything, and it's all in the scene. We're seeing it all. I had a moment in that scene. It was like, the point is made that art and music and connectiveness is that freedom of whatever it is. So
let me tell you a little bit of trivia about that scene.
Okay.
Ryan Coogler wrote it down in the script. It was an idea he had about music connecting generations, all that kind of thing.
Okay.
And he wrote it in the script, and everybody who he thought it was goofy, but it was an idea he had, but he was like, I don't know if it fits. But everybody who read it after that point, that was all they talked about.
Absolutely.
And he was like, oh, I think I have something. Like, it might not be as goofy as I think.
Absolutely.
And it's really memorable. There also is another musical number. Well, there's a few, but the one where you
say musical numbers. It's not like a musical.
Not a musical number, but a song performed.
Right, but in the context, they're at a bar where the idea is to perform music. So it's not like everyone breaks into song.
But the one outside with the vampire dancing with everybody, that one I really liked. He's singing about, he's singing about where he came from.
He's like Gaelic, right? Yeah. So, or Celtic. So he's from over 1,000 years ago, apparently. And someone came and stole his culture and his ability to live his own life. And that's why and somehow turned him into a vampire. I don't know. We don't know that part. But
yeah. So this is a vampire movie at heart, but also has a lot to say about itself. Also, stay until the credits have rolled, because there's a bunch of stuff in the credits that tell the rest of the story, really. The ending of the story, right?
Where?
If you missed that, you would not have seen the end of the story.
If you missed what?
Where they walk into the bar when...
Oh, yes.
When Sammy is older. Yeah,
I totally forgot.
It's like a really important part of the story.
Absolutely. I didn't think of it being after the credits, though.
Well, some credits roll. It's mid-credits, let's call it.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, stick around. As soon as the credits roll, do not leave your seat, because it's like an epilogue to the whole thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And it's really fun. And then if you stick around to the very, very end, there's also a little musical piece by the guy who plays Sammy. Overall, I thought it was excellent. I was absolutely astounded by it. I have no complaints about it. I thought it was awesome.
Nice.
The story was great. It surprised me. It didn't beat around the bush. It if it had to say certain words, it said them. It felt raw,
Mm-hmm.
And it dealt with all kinds of stuff racism on both sides, against white people, against black people, against all people. It was pretty well done, I thought. Let's get on to the cast. Michael B. Jordan plays Smoke and Stack. What do you think?
I mean, it's like a thug, tough guy, wannabe.
Yeah, two guys.
Yeah, he plays twins.
It's very well done.
It is. He's captivating. I don't know what else.
And you can tell the difference between the two guys. While they visually look the same, there's a very big difference in them. Right?
The way he behaves, yes.
Yeah.
You can tell the difference. I thought, is there going to be a time? Because one has a red hat, one has a blue hat.
Yes.
And one has gold around his teeth on the side. So you're supposed to, I guess, identify with him and I thought, is there going to come a time when they're going to switch their hats to try to fool somebody? And then I thought, well, I would be able to tell.
Right.
Because one is like the protector, extra tough guy who basically will do anything, take any punishment for his brother, for the people he cares about. And then his brother is the one who's like a little more of a thinker. Like, well, hey, let's listen to what they've got to say. Or, let's think about this just a little bit. Like, he's the one that wanted to wait an extra day or a week to open up. And his other brother's like, nope, we're going for it. So there was definitely difference. I liked it. Yeah.
Haley Steinfeld plays Mary. You'll know her. She's a pop star and she's also Hawkeye in the Marvel.
Correct.
What do you think?
I mean, she was good. There was this weird disconnect, though. So you mentioned the end credit thingy.
Yeah.
So we meet her. She's like this really cool lady. She's put in a position of being like her. So she's taken for a white lady. She is amongst the African Americans, right?
Yeah.
She explains that her mother's father was black and that he raised her mother as his white daughter so that the Klan wouldn't kill him.
Uh-huh.
That was the whole, or so he wouldn't get lynched or whatever. So she's of both communities, both whatever. But obviously her heart is with her family, which is all these people. So that was cool. And she was really tough and strong. And she's really, like ballsy. And then we get to that end bit and it's the 90s. Spoiler alert. And she's just standing there like a decoration. I was like, why does she not have any lines anymore? She's been,
she actually looked like...
I was a little bit like, what is going on?
She looked like Haley Steinfeld, the pop star.
Yeah. Oh, of the 90s, definitely. Sucking on a lollipop. She's post-80s, early 90s, And she just was blank. I was just like, what? So that was a little disappointing. Not her fault. She didn't write it, but...
No.
So I like watching her, and I liked her character. She was pretty feisty.
There's a really creepy part where she is running away, let's say.
Mm-hmm, very creepy.
It's so creepy because you're like, I don't know what she's going to do. She's just leaving now, setting herself up for what comes next.
Yeah.
We've got Miles Caton as Sammy. Sammy's he's like the main character, really.
Yeah, he's the musician who plays the music that conjures up all the generations and also calls to the king vampire.
This is his first acting role. He's fantastic. What did you think?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And that voice. Oh, my goodness.
I mean, he's also a singer.
No, I mean, just talking.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a lot of bass in that voice.
He sings.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very good. And I don't think it's the last you're going to see of him. Jack O'Connell plays Remick. He's the main bad guy vampire. And he is sinister as F.
Very sinister. And I think... a little over the top at first, that mustachy twirly, and then even later, and then when he's doing a river dance, which was that's one of those where you're like, you've got to laugh.
That was his...
is that like the evil dance?
He does do river dance in real life.
Right, but what I'm saying is, in the context of this movie, when this vampire starts doing river dance, you have to be compelled to go, what the fuck? What is going on? Are we saying river dance is evil, or are we saying... If you imagine him back 1,300 years ago when he was just a dude before somebody came along and bit him on the neck, was he, what's going on? So that's one of those kind of moments where you're like, I know this is serious and he's very bad. However, then remember also their idea, these vampires, is here's the bigger social commentary that all of the people represented, the Gaelic, Celtic people, the folks who've been enslaved from Africa, the Native Americans who've been, obliterated essentially. Then we have Chinese people representing Asia who are brought over in indentured slaves, indentured servants and whatever in the history. the actual overriding idea that he finally delivers is someone's taking away our individuality. The only way we can all come together and defeat this big idea is this. We all become vampires, we live forever, and we slowly obliterate all these people who want to take away our freedom.
Yeah.
I mean, that's sort of like a bizarre way to look at it, because he's like, this is the way that we do it. This is how we are free. This is how we help you be free. You know, and I was like, oh, that's interesting.
It really has interesting ideas for sure. And we've got Wunmi Masaku as Annie.
She's awesome.
Yeah, I wanted to put her down. She was the lady from Loki. You looked her up.
Yep.
And she is great. There's a couple of scenes in this where she is really, giving her all kind of thing.
Absolutely.
Directed by Ryan Coogler, Black Panther and the Creed movies. What do you think of this directing?
I mean, it has a little bit of like roughness occasionally. I know you are sort of totally in love with it, so you might not see it. But there is some look and edit that's a little bit off at times. A little bit of, I don't know. Like when he's driving him in the car and he never looks at the fucking road, that drives me insane. Like he barely looks at the road and he's driving a car. We all know what's happening. They're either in a fake car on a set and someone's shaking it so he doesn't have to look at the road, or he's on one of those gimbal car thingies that's not even driving and he doesn't have to look at the road. That was driving me insane. I don't know why. It was just one of those picky little things. I thought, why is the director not picking up on this? So little bullshit things like that. I think there was a lot to unpack. Like there's a lot coming at you idea-wise in this movie, and trying to kind of like shoehorn in every idea and every kind of people that's trying to be represented. I know he wrote it and directed it, right?
Yeah.
So the representation of Native Americans as part of this, cultures being colonized or wiped out, is very small. They show up, they're on the hunt for the guy who they know is a vampire. They don't, but they're only in it for like not even a minute. You know what I mean? And then they're gone. Yeah. There's no other mention or reference back really until the dance thingy. But stuff like that kind of fell apart a little bit because there's so many things to get in. It could have been trimmed a little, just a little.
You'll enjoy this, what Ryan Coogler said. He said he'd made Black Panther movies and Creed movies. And then he sat down and they were talking about another Creed movie. And he was like, I need to create something original.
Right,
So he came up with his own story.
Right on.
And you're always up for that, aren't you?
I'm always up for that.
Yeah. All right, IMDb reviews. What are those?
Those are we're going to call them reviews. That's what they call themselves. People who write their opinion with their little thumbs. Yeah. And then the 1 stars are the ones that really don't like the movie, but they feel compelled to say things like, this movie is woke. It's preaching at me. This is a man-hating movie. This is a white-hating movie. This is a waste of my time. So let's see what they had to say about this one.
Well, there's 85 1-star reviews for this. That's really high.
Okay.
Isn't it?
I don't know. You do the numbers.
Well, I do know that last week when we watched The Surfer, there was only like 3.
Okay.
That means it really made people think one way or another, right? If there's a bunch of high or low ratings. All right, number 1 says, what a piece of mindless drivel. It's just trying to recapture the shock of Dusk Till Dawn, but failing.
Bum bum.
Maybe as a non-American, I didn't understand it. Ignore the ratings and stay well clear. So that's that one.
Or watch it and make up your own mind.
Number 2 says, a deranged, unintentional parody of From Dusk Till Dawn. This film is an absolute train wreck. It's a baffling, brain-melting disaster that somehow made it past the script stage. Feels like it was written by someone who'd only ever heard of From Dusk Till Dawn in a drunken bar story and tried to recreate it from memory. So that's that guy.
Okay.
And number 3 says, this story may have been better without the vampires. 95% of the movie is 2 brothers going back to a town and a bunch of other plot building that doesn't really go anywhere. It is done well, But the story doesn't track well, and then it turns into a vampire movie, which sucks. Well, yes, sucks. Vampires.
Oh, got it. I got you.
So yeah, that's the 1-star reviews of this movie. We didn't see extras because we watched the streaming version, but let's give this movie a score. I'm giving Sinners a 9 out of 10.
Whoa. That is a lot.
I really loved it.
I'm saying 7.5 to 7.9 in there. I don't know how to pointalize that.
Wow, you're
because
wrong.
it's really good and I really enjoyed. Fuck it. I'll give it an 8.
Yay.
I can hear you're judging me from across the room, but the feeling I had watching it should account for a couple of points. Yeah, for sure.
It was very good. I would watch it again.
Nice.
It was that good. All right. It's excellent when it's an original movie. It's not a movie that was on my radar, actually. And a movie comes along and you're like, what the fuck? That was so good. You know?
Absolutely.
It doesn't happen very often.
You know me. I'm always like, why do we need more of the same thing?
Yeah. Well, lucky for you, next week we are looking at...
Here's the deal, though. This isn't new.
No, it's not.
It's just that the characters, this particular story, it isn't like he's invented a new...
He's added some things to existing things.
Right, so it's not new.
No.
It's just a new compilation of ideas.
But it's particularly well done, and it floats my boat.
I think smashing it in with the timeline, so the 30s, that's interesting.
Yeah, and done right. It could be done shittily, but this was not done shittily. Next week, you're going to be excited because it's another original movie, The Amateur.
Okay.
Starring Rami Malek.
Okay.
Movie recommendations, I'm just going to give you these two. Dusk Till Dawn.
Yeah.
Awesome movie. Also, I would recommend the TV series if you want an extended version of the movie.
Absolutely.
It actually goes a lot further than the movie
It does. And it's good. It's well done. I like it.
The first season just retells the movie. But the second and third season, they go way further than the movie.
Filling really in the whole of the,
Yeah. And it's made by Robert Rodriguez's production company. So, it's really good. In fact, the guys who play Quentin Tarantino and what's he called? George Clooney. The guys who play
they're not playing Quentin Tarantino and George Clooney. Those aren't characters in the show.
The two brothers, the Gecko brothers. The guys who play them in the show are actually exceptionally good too.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll give you Dusk Till Dawn, the TV show or the movie, and Black Panther, which is a fantastic Marvel movie. I wasn't really that fond of the second Black Panther, but the first one I think is really very good. Also starring Michael B. Jordan.
True.
So what have you got?
My recommendations are going back to the whole of the cinematic history. So that's the beginning of the 20th century. If you don't know when new movies haven't existed forever, just so you know. But I picked horror as my genre. These are movies I've seen, not the quality. We're not measuring quality here. It's just that if you want to be just like me, and who doesn't, then you want to watch them all and then make your own judgment. So we have Silence of the Lambs, 1991.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think of that as a horror movie, but he is pretty horrible, isn't he?
Yes.
Child's Play 3, 1991. No comment.
No.
Army of Darkness, 1992.
Brilliant.
Yeah, brilliant. Alien 3, 1992. I happen to like it. Keep your opinions to yourself.
I like it.
Dracula, 1992. And what's the loop around to Dracula is that in this movie, we get the timeline to 1992 when one of our characters has survived and lives and is an old person. And 1932 was the beginning. And in those years were when the original Dracula came out in the movies, on the motion pictures. And then 1992 was when, the Bram Stoker with Keanu Reeves, right? And Gary Oldman.
Yeah. And that's not a coincidence. That's a Ryan Coogler being a fan of Dracula. All right. Ace Scully stuff. I have been playing talking of 9 out of 10s, give this movie 9 out of 10. I'll give this game 9 out of 10 right up front.
What game?
The game, The Alters. So this is a game that came out yesterday. I've had it for about a week because they sent me an early key. So I've been playing it a lot. And the alters, I'll give you the description off Steam. It says, explore an emotional sci-fi game with a unique blend of survival, adventure, and base building. Help Jan Dolsky, the sole survivor of an ill-fated space expedition, create alternate versions of himself to escape a hostile planet and tackle personal turmoils with his unconventional crew.
Goodness.
So it's hard to... this game is unlike any other game I've played because it's a mishmash of lots of games. It's got a little bit of The Sims. It's got a little bit of Minecraft. It's got a little bit of like survival games where you have to, because you crash landed on a planet. You've got to go and outside on the planet, which is terribly dangerous, and bring back food and metal and all these kind of things to build stuff. There's a building simulation where you're building your base. There's the big thing of the game is all your crew's dead. There's just you who survives. But inside your space station, the company that you were dealing with, company that sent you on this mission, have a cloning table called the Womb. At first, you use the cloning table because you're curious, and a sheep pops out. So you've got this cloned sheep, which will provide you with some milk, etc., right?
Okay.
It never goes into that, but I'm assuming that's what he uses the sheep for because it's always there in that room.
Oh, okay.
But then later on, you can clone from your DNA versions of yourself to help you get out of this predicament. And all the time, you can speak to, occasionally, you get phone calls from the space station people who are trying to help you get out of there and also monitoring what you're doing. But they're also telling you things like, have you used that cloning table? And you're like, yeah, I made another version of myself and he's kind of helping me out. And they're like, well, you know what? You don't want to ever tell that to anybody else, just me. Like, don't ever say that to anybody ever.
Okay.
Because that breaks like space intergalactic conventional law and nobody's allowed to ever do that. So never mention that.
That you've made your own clones of your own self.
You're right. You're not allowed to do that. It's against the whole universe's laws, right? So you've done that and they're interested in it and you're trying to get off the planet. And you can keep cloning. You can have up to 9 different versions of yourself. And when I say different, they kind of look like you, but they're different. Like the scientist one has longer hair and glasses, so you recognize him as a scientist.
Yeah.
And you can talk to each one, and they've all got different personalities. What you find out is this cloning thing is based on, there's like a timeline of your life that you can go and read. It tells you everything you did in your life, from like being born to, going to school for the first time, getting your first job, finding your first love. It's all the way along this big line. And you can go in the DNA when you put it into the table to make another alter. You can subtract parts of it. So you can say, like, only start after my father died.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so this second version of you might only remember certain parts of your timeline. So it gets real sci-fi.
Really? Really? Yeah, I'm shocked.
And science-y as well, because you have to think about when you're actually having a conversation with one of your guys. These guys are like blank pages too. So they know what they have to do because you tell them almost immediately. Look, we're stranded on a planet. We need to survive. You're a scientist. Figure a way out. They go, yeah, okay, I'll figure that out. But I've got all these memories of this life I've had. And also this happened to me. Did this happen to you? Different things. And some of them are a little bit unhinged.
Okay.
And if you don't talk to them correctly, so you get choices when you speak to them. So say one comes to me and says, I'm really tired. You're giving me too much work to do. And I say, just get on with your work. Like,
yeah,
don't bother me. A little thing glows above his head that says he's feeling less motivated and a bit more angry.
Ooh, so you gotta have people skills.
Yeah, so you got to have people skills. And my guys, actually, they're getting on quite fine at the moment. But there was one guy where it was touch and go, where I was like, I think this guy's going to kill everybody because he really hates it here. Like, and every time he bumps into me and I speak to him, he's like, why am I not dead? I'd rather be dead than doing what's happening here. So
oh my.
Yeah, it gets deep. It's really interesting. I've never seen any game like this where you can also, it saves after each day that passes in the game. So if you do something that you really hated and it all starts to go wrong, you can actually roll back and then do things differently.
Okay.
So there's a lot of experimentation going on. The game itself, when you're just running around, it's like a lot of busy work where you're like collecting stuff, bringing it back. You can't go out at nighttime because there's extra radiation on the planet and you will end up sick. You know, you're in charge of your altars, and if you want, you can send them out at nighttime if you don't care about them. And they can do the work, and they come back and they're being sick everywhere.
So it's like you're doing The Sims, where you can put them in a room and lock them in and never feed them. Yeah, I get you.
I had one guy who worked too long at night, and he came back, and I said, are you okay? And he's like, I don't know. I feel like radiated. Is there too much radiation out there or something? Is my suit not working? And I know what was wrong. Like, I'm kind of like, no, you'll be okay.
Because you're evil.
Yes. So it's called The Altars. It's out on all platforms. You can get it on Xbox. You can get it on PlayStation, PC. I've been playing it on PC. It's actually on Game Pass as well if you're a subscriber of Game Pass. It's literally, for me, and I'm near the end of the game now, but something really bad happened, and now I'm rolling back to try and not... I killed everybody, let me just say. I didn't do what I was supposed to do quick enough, so everybody died, including me. So I'm going to roll back and do more of it. It's called The Altars. It's exceptional. It's a 9 out of 10 from me. I think it's excellent. You should try it. I bet you, if you've played video games before, you haven't played anything quite like this. It's got a very unique hook to it. And you definitely want to know what happens. Like, I can't stop playing it because I need to know what happens. Do we get off the planet? Does the people who we're working for stiff us over?
Yeah, what's the point? What's the purpose of it all?
When they come and rescue us, are they going to rescue me and the altars or just me? Like, is there room for all of us?
Oh, I got you.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? There's a lot of questions. So it's The Altars. It is, I believe, $29.99 on Steam. Sid Talk, what's for dinner?
Well, we have come to the decision it will be the Taco Bell.
Well, yum.
Yeah.
Delicious. And what
is
your advice? And let's get out of it.
Well, it's really cheery.
Cheery.
Really cheery. As I've mentioned before, if you listen to us on a regular basis, my mother passed away in November. Our father passed away in 2017. Of course, other people have died in my life, you know, as your mother died when you were little. Like, people die. And I'm not like telling this to anyone who doesn't know it. They do. That's just how it is. That's nature. But here's what doesn't die. And this kind of made me think of it in this movie, is that ideas do not die. It's an idea, not just an idea or a belief or like a political thing or, you know, like I like horror movies idea. I mean, ideas as in like, my mom always had the overriding idea that your attitude will dictate how your life goes for you. It cannot control the things that happen in your life. But any shitty thing that happens to you, how you deal with it, how you go on carrying that with your attitude that you choose is then creates your life, right? That doesn't go away. And just because she died, that idea didn't die because she passed it on to so many people. I can tell you so many people who would be smiling right now, be like, yep, that's Sandra. She was all about the attitude. That idea will not go away as long as anybody is still alive who is, even if they don't remember where they heard it or saw it, it goes on. And it's not just good ideas that never die. It's also bad ideas, bad ways of perceiving, bad attitudes, let's say, about being and what you are owed in this life, or how your feelings matter more than others. So you should use something like hurting other people to make you feel better. That idea won't die with you when you're done. Someone else will have picked up on that, and that idea goes on. It's sort of like, what's that movie? Fallen? Denzel Washington, John Goodman, you know, the demon who's like ornery. gets passed along from person to person. Like it goes into their person and they whistle and whatever. I mean, got to see it.
I haven't seen it because it doesn't ring any bells.
Right. You might have, it's kind of bland, unfortunately, but that's the thing is, once you've put the idea into the world, it will not go away. You can think it's gone away. If you want to dominate a group of people and remove things like we are hinted at in this movie, not hinted at, but that's the idea is that their cultures, who they were, everything about them was taken away so that someone else could profit. And that idea, someone cherishes. Like, hey, I can rub these people in the dirt and I can get what I can get out of them. Yeah, that idea doesn't die from generation to generation, nor does the idea of I have the right to live my life free without you telling me what to believe, how to act, what to wear, how I can worship or not worship, or what I value in this world, how I live. You don't get to decide that. That idea will go on forever. So that's it.
All right. Thank you very much. ascully.com. That's a place you can go to get this podcast. Twitter, Instagram, those are our social media places. Well, they don't belong to us.
No, we didn't buy them yet.
Yeah. ascully.com, Spotify, iTunes, Amazon Music, YouTube. You can go any of those places to get the podcast. Email feedback to me, ascully@ascully.com. Do not email Sid Talk. She doesn't want your email. Neither do I personally, but you can email me if you've got a question.
He's nicer than me, so
And stay classy, Mr. Ryan Coogler. I didn't mention earlier, but he is making next the X-Files TV show.
Whoop, whoop. I mean, I'm not excited that more X-Files exists because I could live without it, but that is one of the premises, one of the foundations of our relationship. When we found each other in 1998 on the old-timey internet, one of the things we like to talk about was the X-Files. So that'll be fun. And I'm going to say, think for yourselves, because if you're not doing it, someone else is doing it with an old idea for you.